Hi everyone, it's Victoria Vaughan, Amazing Grace, me and Evie. I just wanted to quickly say, please excuse my eye. I have a burst blood vessel, which is probably from the stress of parenting. So hopefully this very short video will help any of you from getting one of these. Hi everyone, I'm Victoria and welcome back to my channel, Amazing Grace, me and Evie. I can also be found under Victoria Vaughan as well, but my Instagram handle is Amazing Grace, me and Evie, where I've got lots of hints and tips, as I mentioned in my previous post. So today I wanted to talk to everybody about some of my mum must-have buys. This has slightly changed since we've had our second daughter, as when you have your firstborn, you seem to want to buy the world, but once you grow a bit more confident as a parent, things become a bit more streamlined. So I'm going to talk more about those things. So the first thing on my list, which has been an absolute lifesaver with Evelyn, is a Tommee Tippee Perfect Prep machine, which is like this. Obviously, this will be totally dependent on your choice of feeding, whether you're breastfeeding or not. With Grace, we did breastfeed. We had some issues around breastfeeding, so I ended up expressing for Grace until she was 6 months old. And that is probably a totally different post altogether. So we're going to leave that for the moment and just talk about this. So this machine I think retails around about £100, although lots of superstores, supermarkets do have offers on it. It is literally a lifesaver. It's 2 minutes to prepare a bottle at perfect temperature for your baby. Seriously, buy one. It will save you hours and hours and hours of crying through the night. Lifesaver. The second one, which ties in perfectly with that, is a sterilizer, a microwavable sterilizer. So this is the Tommee Tippee one. You basically just open it up, like so, add in a very small amount of water into the base, pop your bottles, teats and lids in there and pop it into the microwave depending on the power of it for 6 to 8 minutes. Bottles are then perfectly ready to use straight away. So if you've got everything prepped and work it with a machine, you know, making feeding much easier for a newborn. That is a lifesaver. We've used that with both of the girls and it's worked perfectly for the 2.5 years that we've used it. The third thing, which is on my must-have, is probably up there with the most used item we've had. We've bought a new one for Evelyn, but it is this, which is a Claire's Loon nursing pillow. I bought ours from Argos. I think it was about £15. It's not expensive at all. And it was an absolute lifesaver for both girls. So with Grace, we used it for when I was breastfeeding, when I was nursing her. It's a really nice pillow just to pop them on so they've got somewhere comfortable and safe to lie on if you just want to pop them down. It's great. We've used it, again, as I said, again and again. We use it every single day. I actually used it prior to giving birth as well. It's a really nice maternity pillow to take with you to hospital or when you're in the later stages of pregnancy. It's just a really nice pillow just to prop yourself underneath with, and it's perfect. It's light, it's lovely, and it's cheap. So I would highly recommend getting yourself a nursing pillow. Moving on then to comfort for babies and where to pop them down rather than just placing them on the sofa. We actually bought a bouncy chair such as this. It isn't fancy, it is just a simple chair. I think these retail about 20 quid. They're not expensive at all. We actually bought ours off somebody we know. It was boxed, it was unused, but still have a look on Facebook Marketplace. There's loads of bargains. And this has been used so much, I can't even tell you. With Grace and Evelyn, it's fantastic. It's been such an easy positional chair to pop them in when you just want them to be safe and secure, especially when they start rolling. You can secure them in there, pop them next to you, whatever you're doing, and it's something that they're comfortable in, safe, you know where they are. Highly recommend you getting a chair such as that. So sleeping. We have always used these, which is a sleep suit. They come from newborn age, and you can get them depending on the time of the year that your baby is born. You can buy them in the different togs. This is a winter tog, so it's 2.5, but they start off at 0.5 if you were even going on holiday. They're absolutely the safest way for your baby to sleep. Just pop their arms in there, do them up. There's no way that they can, you know, wriggle out of them. It's the safest way for babies to sleep rather than using a blanket. And all midwives would recommend those. They can be bought in all supermarkets and online, and they are absolutely a must-have in my opinion. So a sleep suit. Next thing I was going to mention, which has been a lifesaver for us with both of the girls, as Evelyn is just starting to teeth, is some teething products. So Ambisol, which you can buy from a chemist, is by far, this is my go-to for teething. Only a very small amount needed, just to rub on the gums, and it works almost instantly. You can try it yourself, it's quite strong. They're not particularly fond of the taste, but they don't cry either. Well, ours haven't. This is up there with the top for teething, in my opinion. And actually it can work quite nicely with Ashton and Parsons, which is again also very good. We're not fond of the Bonjela sort of gel creams. These seem to be the two that work the best for us. On the same sort of line of teething or medication, bring you then on to a digital thermometer. This is a Tommee Tippee one that I bought on offer in Tesco's, and this is really, really handy in the early time of parenting, when, especially around injection time, you will get stressed, especially with your first child. This will just give you a bit of peace of mind that the temperature is fine and you can monitor it and give medication accordingly. So I would suggest investing in this. I know obviously they are quite expensive compared to an analogue thermometer, but they are much more accurate. So digital thermometer. Again, medical. A nasal aspirator or a nasal sucker. This is a newbie one. You can buy these in all chemists. You can get them in Tesco, Asda. They are absolutely amazing if your little one is bunged up or has a cold. I haven't got any here, but they work really nicely with a nasal saline aspirator spray. So that is just, you can get Calpol ones or you can get any branded ones or unbranded. They're a nasal salty water basically, but you just squirt it up the nostril and then use the sucker to just pull out any of the gunk that they may have up there, which from newborn, these can be used, which you can't use certain cold and flu remedies for. So this will help out a lot for little ones in helping them breathe a bit more easily, especially through the night. So I would recommend buying them. They're cheap and they're very effective in helping them. Nappy creams. So obviously most people would know Sudocrem is quite a good nappy barrier ointment for day to day. If your little one is particularly sore or dry in the nappy area, then we were recommended this by our midwife, which is Metanium Nappy Rash Ointment, and it's the yellow one. Again, you can buy that anywhere. It's reasonably priced, but it is really, really good stuff. It would be recommended by most midwives, and we have used it and have had very good results from it. So that is a very, very good nappy cream. The last thing on my list is probably a bit more of a wish list item, but it's worked really, really well for us, is a travel cot. So we bought ours. It's a Red Kite one. We bought it from Asda when they were on offer. We did buy it initially as a travel cot, so when we were going to go abroad, etc. But we ended up using it as more of a playpen in our living room and somewhere that we can securely put the toddler or the baby when they're starting to crawl. So they're safe and secure in our little area, and it's a great buy for it was a great buy for us and a great way for us to keep Grace safe, and we're bound to be using it with Evelyn as well, just so that we can possibly separate them and make sure that they're self-contained and safe at all times. And so yeah, that sort of sums up my must-haves. I mean, there are some additional items that we did find really useful with Grace that we haven't used with Evelyn, and that may be just because we're more confident now as parents. So one of those items that we did find particularly helpful with Grace was a bath chair, and basically they just pop straight into the bath and you can secure them in, a bit like the bouncy chair, but it's waterproof for the bath. And we found that really helpful so that we could bath Grace in the big bath, as she was never fond of the little plastic tubs. So they are quite handy. I mean, with Evelyn now, we're confident enough to hold her and wash her, in the bath like that. But first time parents, it is a bit nerve-wracking bathing them and bathing newborn babies when they're very small as well. And often they don't particularly like the water. So a bath chair is a really good buy if you're looking for something a bit extra to help you with bath times. And one of the other things, a breast pump. I mean, I haven't used this with Evelyn. We did breastfeed for a little while and then we moved on to bottle feeding, so that's why we've used the Tommee Tippee prep machine. But a breast pump is a really good purchase if you are going to breastfeed. I always preferred the manual pump rather than an electric pump, which is nothing to do with price. We actually had both, but I preferred the way that the manual pump worked. I found that I produced a lot more milk that way. It's probably a personal choice, but I would suggest investing in a manual initially, because if you get on with that, then why spend £100 on an electric pump? If you're going to be pumping a lot, then you could consider that. I know you can hire them as well, but I would look at getting a manual breast pump. And the freezer bags for milk as well are also a really, really good buy. That way, if you have any excess milk, you can freeze it down and it will last in your freezer then for 6 months, and you've always got a supply then to hand. So that pretty much sums up my must-haves. I will pop all of these onto my Instagram page in a list, which is Amazing Grace, Me and Evie. With regards to the products, there are quite a lot of baby events on at the moment, and I've got a list of those and the dates for all of the major brands, so Tesco, Asda, Argos for instance, and they're all on my Instagram page. Please subscribe. There's going to be lots more of this sort of topic and hints and tips coming up in the future. And please share if you find that this will be helpful to any new mums and dads or anyone who is expecting, and give me a follow on Insta as well, and hopefully I shall see you all soon. Bye.